You're listening to another Ambitious Entrepreneur Network.com podcast, the voice for entrepreneurs and small business. Now, onto the show.
You're listening to the award-winning podcast, The Ambitious Entrepreneur Show, featuring business leaders to help you navigate a constantly changing marketplace. Want to become known as a trusted authority while building a thriving business you love? The Ambitious Entrepreneur Show will show you how. Here's your host, Anne-Marie Cross.
Hey, it's Anne-Marie, and we are about to go behind the scenes and bring in Keith Keller as well as the Twitter Spaces. We've got some questions that we're going to answer all about Twitter Spaces, social audio, building community, our community of ideal clients, referral partners in 2022. So I'm going to take off the video because we want to have that audio only and bring in some of the team.
We are just going to tweet the space out to the metaverse so we can get some more people in. Let's get Jason also. Jason has his Bunsen and Beaker. Jason has his space later on the day at 9 o'clock. So with that being said, we are going to count to three.
And let's see where they have gone. And let's see.
We tweet just like everyone else. I listen to them on my way to work, when I'm working out, when I'm going for walks, because I don't need to be in front of my computer. I have my phone with me. It's something that I love doing. And now with Twitter Spaces, I can do the same. I could be doing my housework, or I could be multitasking on my computer or doing homework with my kids. And I have one earphone in, and then on the other side I hear or I do something else. And I think that's the cool thing about the flexibility. However, I think that they need to work on the recording a little bit and on the sound quality and these little bags. However, like it was said a week ago at the anniversary, the 1 year anniversary, if we didn't have the bags, what would we talk about in Spaces? We have spaces that are singly dedicated to the bags and Spaces. So there you go. About and the pop news regarding.
Let me pick up what you just said there. There's a really cool Shine Down song. And one of the lines is, if there was nothing wrong, there'd be nothing to write.
Correct. It's the best advertisement is any advertisement. So there you go. There you have it.
So with that in mind, we've got 27 listeners now, and so that means that we've made 33 now. So the waterfall has worked, and
so
that will mean that
it takes 5 minutes. It takes 5 minutes, everybody.
Collective reach of the community today is at this second 383,000 people have the potential to see this tweet, to come into the session and do their magic. So with that in mind, we are our own case study. We're proving our own theory that how to use social audio to build a community is reaching 383,000 people, and 31 of them have decided to join us. But this is exactly what I'm talking about now. I'm going to bring Anne-Marie in to see if she can indeed speak. She's having some technical challenges there.
Can you hear me, Keith?
Can we hear you now, Anne-Marie?
Can you hear me, Keith?
We can, but there's a really amazing echo and the sound is unbelievable. You might need to disconnect the LinkedIn idea.
So it's
the
not
sound is
working.
awful.
Wow. Okay.
It is working, but the audio is very robotic and almost inaudible. You know, it's very difficult. You want to just have a
Keith, I
have a bit of
I
a
cannot
technical
hear from this end.
technical break. Hear some echo in the background, and the sound is very robotic. It's so maybe it's
Keith,
placing
can
too
you
much
hear me?
load on your computer. You want to just
Can you
take
hear
a
me,
couple
Keith?
of minutes and come back to us?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think
So anyway, that's live radio, isn't it? That's live in the moment, what we call ad-libbing. And so I just have to keep going. But look, I want to bring people in as we go. Stephen and has been an enormous advocate of what we're doing here. I'd love to hear your thoughts, Stephen. What do you think about social audio and Twitter Spaces in particular, as it relates to the idea that we can build global community?
Thanks, Keith. It's so good to be here, and I love what you are doing with social audio. For me, audio is such a warm medium. Growing up in Los Angeles, and there's a baseball announcer. His name is Vin Scully, and he used to tell stories. I'd turn my lights off, and I would just use my imagination to imagine what was happening. And as opposed to TV, which is kind of you just kind of get into a trance.
Very passive, isn't it?
Very passive. Audio has the power to invoke imagination. And so we're meeting at this moment with people all over the world. And I hear warmth, I hear accents, I hear nuances, and I'm all about connection. And so for me, social audio is a way, especially in Twitter Spaces, is a way to connect heart to heart in a very different way than Zoom. Zoom became so exhausting, and being on screen, having the camera on, I found it a very cold medium, or you have to work really hard to keep it warm. But this is just instantly warm and connected. So those are some of my thoughts on social audio.
And do you think Twitter Spaces is indeed leading the charge, or do you think we can do better?
Absolutely. Twitter Spaces is leading the charge, and Nat was talking about it earlier. You can go from a tweet into a quick conversation and building communities together. And I think Twitter is doing all the right things to become the platform of the future. And I'm really excited. I'm very bullish on Twitter and on Twitter Spaces.
I love it, and I love your support. Because you're a tech guy, you've got a studio, you've got all the gadgets, so you're very well positioned to have an opinion on this, aren't you?
Yeah, thanks. And I'm looking forward to learning more because Keith, one thing that I'm getting from you, I think you just mentioned Headliner. I'd never heard of that. But what I want to do is launch a show or relaunch a show, unmute yourself in 2022 and be able to capture snippets from interviews and then make them available on my website and make them available down the line. So I love what you're doing. I'm looking forward to learning more about how to leverage a live Twitter space and then get a recording. I started Twitter Spaces when it first came out, and I took a break from it, but I see it's a lot easier to get a recording than it used to be. So yeah, I'm here to learn and here to connect. Thank you.
Oh, look, I love it, and we're sharing so much together. In fact, we've got a group, a Twitter Spaces group that we just realised today has 39 members. Just to using headliner.ai. Just want to reiterate what we're doing here. Me personally in Melbourne, Australia, with our 50 megabytes a second, terrible headliner.ai. Now, anything you hear from me will be recorded on that system. It's very robust. It usually works. And what I'm personally doing is I'm taking the file, which is a AAC file, which I hadn't heard of before, and I dump it into Filmora, which is a mixing site. You can do videos and audio in it, and I triple track it. I record it 3 times, and I make it fatter. Now, that's a little bit complicated. Straight out of the gate, Twitter doesn't sound that cool. It's just not ready. You can do it straight out of the gate. You can actually get the recording and it'll play on your little player on your phone. and it lasts 30 days. Everyone will have this eventually, and most of us in the group have got it now. But not everyone hasn't. Don't worry, it's coming. So what I do is I use Headliner. If we can get it to work, what Anne-Marie is doing, and I think she's got it to work, I'm going to bring her in a minute. I think what Anne-Marie has done is she's used StreamYard.com, which is a very cool site, to send this file to LinkedIn and created a LinkedIn event. Now, that blows my mind. And if we can get this to work, not only are we sending it to LinkedIn, which has 900 million users, we also get the MP3. Let's try again and see if you're working. We might be trying a bit too much, too fast, but let's have a go and see if you've got a signal now.
Is this better? Can you hear me now without an echo?
You are there. You are there, but the audio is horrible.
Really? It's interesting because you can't even hear me at all because the Facebook user was saying you sound great here.
No,
Isn't that interesting? So
I can hear you. In fact,
let's
ask the group. For me, I can hear you, but it's very robotic. And if it sounds good on other places, we might just run with it. Is everyone with me on this? Just how does Anne-Marie sound? Give me a 100 if you get the robotic sound, but give me a thumbs up or a punch in the air if you're getting a really clean sound. Okay, everyone in the group saying 100 means robotic.
Wow, that's interesting because as I said,
that's a really interesting point.
Yeah, because there's a comment on the Facebook that said you sound great on here, so it must have something to do with inside Twitter Spaces because you're coming through loud and clear on my end within StreamYard. So I'm just going to keep trying, and
let's run with it.
That's the whole thing that we got to do is try
just
out these things.
We'll run with it.
Actually,
because you know, in its essence, and this is why I'm really excited about this today. I'm very proud. I got my Twitter community okay. You know, not everyone has Twitter communities, and just today, I got an email that I've got the ability to run a community, and I think what I'm going to do, I'm just deciding what I'm going to do with that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a Twitter where we run spaces like this, where we go, okay, Twitter Spaces plugged into your phone is fine. Doesn't sound that great. Let's see if we can do better. And we'll run experiments. And if you're up for that, please DM me and I'll start a group about this. But I want to be the guy that plays with my mixer and plays the cool effect, you know, and pretends that he's Groucho Marx. And I want to be the guy that, you know, does all these cool experiments because just plugging your headphones into the phone is not enough for me. I mean, I'm already sick of it. Sure, I can walk around the house with my bare feet, just have my phone in my hand, but I can't do anything with it. Recording is awful, and it's not enough. So I'm going to start a tech community. But Anne-Marie, with that in mind, tell us what you did with LinkedIn and also, of course, Facebook. How are you doing it? And what are the lessons here for the social audio experiment we're running?
Great. So it's interesting because I'm doing exactly the same that I did the last time, and the audio quality was really good there. And so it's going to be interesting to see what the sound quality is on the various platforms. I'm also recording this on Audacity. So what I did was send an invitation via my, StreamYard invitation to my iPhone, and that's how I'm connected. And I'm bringing the iPhone and Twitter Spaces and yourself, Keith, into StreamYard that way. The interesting thing, though, is I notice your audio and Twitter Spaces audio is coming through my microphone. So obviously, this is on StreamYard. So that's interesting. What I had figured out, and obviously didn't work, so I need to find a different way. What I did was I shared my screen via QuickTime, and then I brought that in, and that would have allowed me to see all of the screen on the Twitter Spaces, but the sound quality wasn't working. So I had to disconnect and do it the way that I just mentioned, going in via a link. But we're streaming to LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, couple of places in Facebook, 4 places in Facebook. So across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 places. Yeah. 7 places.
Yeah. Now, let me just echo what you said there for everyone who doesn't understand how significant this is, which is the coolest site on the internet at the moment. Coolest site. You can stream to up to 8 places at once, simultaneously. Right? So if we get this to work, we can stream from Twitter Spaces to Facebook, a group, a profile, a page. We can send to LinkedIn, an event, a page, a profile. We can send it to Twitter. We can send it to Twitch. We can send it to YouTube. And you can also send it to RTMP, which is loosely described as anything else. Sky is the limit because Twitter Spaces is what it is, 200 million users. But we can go further because many of us on this call have said, well, what about all my mates on Instagram? They don't get to hear my stuff. What about all my mates who are watching my YouTube channel? They don't get to hear my stuff. And so we're working really hard to get this to work. The other thing that I'm really excited about this combination is that if this works, StreamYard automatically records an MP3 and an MP4 in HD. Automatically. See, that completely bypass and or headliner. And if we can get this to work, we've got a really strong chance of getting really good quality audio straight out of the gate automatically sent to your hard drive. So if nothing else, Anne-Marie, send me that file and we can compare it, because sounds like from your end you're getting a really clean signal, and it's just the Twitter community that's suffering.
Yes, yeah. If I had the opportunity, what I could do is, and this is often what happens when we're doing experiments with tech, switch everything off and then start again. But I was streaming live as I came in, so once I disconnect that, I can't go back in, which is one of the reasons why I'm troubleshooting any way that I can. But this is one of the things that happens, isn't it, Keith? You just keep trying till you find a way, or someone creates a gadget or a piece of software.
That's our brand. I mean, that's our brand.
Yeah.
That's our brand. That's what we're doing. I'll just run the room, but Spooky, when you want to sing, put your hand up. When you feel like you've got your mojo, I'm ready for you. But you just take your time. You've been gigging this week, and I'm not going to push you. We got the song in the nest, and that's enough if you don't feel like it. So I'd like to bring in some of the other speakers. At the moment, we're reaching 370,000 people as a combination for this. So Indra, tell us what you're thinking about social audio. But as it relates to building a community, it's a miracle, isn't it?
Look, this whole concept, I was so excited to be on this show because of the factor of the reach of people and having a live experience. I mean, I compare it to, well, I'm thinking about with my YouTube show, it's flat, there's one dimension, but to have Twitter Spaces and then to take it to another level of be able to live stream it is, I mean, it's happening right now. So this is really exciting. And even look around the room at already how many countries we have in the room. I mean, this is just so exciting on this. And to hear that, you know, I mean, Anne-Marie, it sounds like it's just, I'm fascinated, you know, because I was, you know, I've actually live streamed via using Riverside FM, but not from Twitter Spaces. I mean, it would be great if that could connect, but, you know, using live streaming out to Twitter, to YouTube, all simultaneously, and Facebook and LinkedIn. But this is a whole nother piece, and I can understand why there's so many technical. But I'm excited to see how this all goes. And
imagine what'll happen if we get this right.
Exactly, because this is like there's just a little bit of tweaking that sounds like you know, it's almost there, but it's really exciting because it's whole nother. I think it's going to open up a whole nother dimension.
Yeah. Now, Ashley, I'm going to bring you in a minute, Spooky, but Ashley's had a hand up for the longest time, so I want to give her a chance to speak and ask her question. And then, Spooky, I'm going to give you a chance to talk about your song, and if you're up for it, sing it, and really play this out. Because what we're doing is Twitter Spaces is such a thing that we now have our own theme song. Like, we have a theme song, And I can tell you for sure that we've actually surpassed the. It was there was a song which was basically superimposed over Another One Bites the Dust, where a person was singing, "What is this Google Plus?" And the whole song was superimposed over that. And we have already surpassed the numbers that song got, whenever that was. So we're onto something. But why don't you speak, Ashley, about the potential here for global reach on Twitter Spaces if we can get this right?
So far, the opportunity to connect with people has been presented to us from the time that we wake up to the time that we go to sleep. And I think each person that's hosting has realized they're reaching people at different times of day too, which is interesting because people are now able to prioritize getting on and connecting their communities to Twitter Spaces in real time. Just like the exercise that we did at the beginning, where everyone, thanks to Kiki, that was so cool. It was so cool seeing it work. And that's really what brought me in here. Keith, you already know, I'm the sparkly one.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm the sparkly one. So that's the sound. I'm taking it and I'm running with it.
That's my Tinkerbell sound.
I know. Actually, in the community that the entrepreneurs community that I was developing over the last couple of years, that sparkling or the fairy dust or the glitter, what I would reference it as, that's something that I want to bring into my spaces too, because it keeps things light and is definitely fun. So yeah, the audio quality we're finding is getting better. Even if we have hiccups sometimes, that brings people back, as well as getting an opportunity to hear directly from people who are using this to do new things. And I think that is just as exciting. So thank you for allowing me to speak.
You're very welcome. And look, I want to say a big hello to Philip, who's in Africa. And he's saying, look, when you ask Anne-Marie to speak again, and we'll try this in a minute, why don't you try? Like, I'll mute myself because the feedback seems to be coming from the cross-referencing of me and Anne-Marie. I would never have thought of that. So why don't we try that? I'll mute myself, which eliminates that signal from my mic, and see whether that works. So you want to try again, Anne-Marie?
Yeah, let me just come on here. And we're, of course, answering or asking the question of people, how can Twitter Spaces help us to build our online communities in 2022? Is that better?
Unfortunately not.
Okay,
but
that's one other way that we know not working.
Give me a 100 if you're getting a digital signal. Are you getting a digital robotic sound when you hear Anne-Marie? Give me 100. Yeah. And give me 2 fingers in the air if you love the sound. It's all part of the experiment. So that's one experiment done. But why don't we bring Spooky in? Because I definitely want to hear what his inspiration is for the song. But if he's up for it, I'd love you. This is the Twitter theme song, like the Twitter Spaces theme song, a song written for us by this really cool dude on the other end of the world. For me, like a long way away. It would take me a whole day to get there. So Spooky.
Yeah, I wanted to share a little bit about, building community on here, because I have had the privilege of, meeting some really amazing people on here. And, when we speak about building a community, it first starts with individuals, right? You have to connect with individuals and, I don't know, for some strange reason, everyone I have met on Twitter Spaces has been really amazing. And I have been able to do some great work. Even the Twitter Spaces song, wouldn't have happened without the contribution of some very, very interesting and amazing people. So I have built the community. Aside that, I've been able to do some work outside of Twitter Spaces because of the people in Twitter Spaces. I have done a commercial for a company in Canada. I'm having some, equipment being sent to me here in Ghana, just because of the work that I've been doing here on Twitter Spaces, because of, uh, you know, these people that I've met. So, it's a really wonderful experience when you just speak on here. Sometimes I was saying this the other um, there's this what do I call it? Like, I can just tell from someone's voice when they're being honest, and I
Yeah.
call it my superpower. But like, I know a lot of people can do that too, and it's one of the reasons why I love Twitter Spaces. I get on here, start conversations with people. I can tell when they're being genuine, and when they show the love that they speak about. That is how I've built talking to people and just weighing their words versus their actions, and checking them out in their profiles and stuff. I think that has been a wonderful way for me to build my community. I know other people have different ways, but that's how I did mine, and it's been great
Yeah.
so far. I wanted to share the song with you. I have a terrible voice tonight, but I hope you guys
Just sing one verse and chorus. Don't push yourself. You're already awesome, man. Just don't push yourself. You're a genius. Just do whatever you can.
Thank you very much. So, God, if you guys laugh, I'll cry. uh, As I raise my voice to sing the social distancing, but Twitter brings us together, and it don't matter the weather in my space. Got these lovely ones here, I'm safe. Got my whole crew round in here playing. Felt right. So speak to us, we're here listening. We got your back, you're not alone. We got your back, you're not alone. Cause Michael's here, Matt is joined, Maxwell's making his kente cloth. Hi ho, Celine, and hi Joanne. Matt the Irish Big Muff, the man. I'm loving time with you in my own space. Oh yeah. You're free to join it all day, all day. I feel the faces. You're free to join it all day on Twitter Spaces. Thank you very much. I can go beyond that.
Now, big 100. Everyone in the room, promise me big 100 right now. I mean, look at this. Look what we're doing.
I really appreciate you guys.
Look at what we're doing. We've got 45 people from all over the world connecting on. And we've actually got our own theme song. And I'm so excited. And there's some kooky guy on the other side of the world, Melbourne, Australia, playing around with all these funny sounds. Just because it makes it fun. And we've got this spooky guy in Ghana singing. So we're right at the beginning. We're right at the beginning of something really, really, really powerful. I don't even think we fully understand what we've got here.
Hi, Keith. I also wanted to say, Spaces audio or social audio is the future. To be honest, I don't see how, if it's not going to be Twitter Spaces, it's going to be another platform. But I don't see the power of voice ever, declining, because it's something we've always done since the days of radio, and
Testing, testing.